All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Is there a motion? Manny?
I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
Is there a second? Willis? Discussion? What's this weekend?
Super Bowl.
There we go. Awesome. Super Bowl weekend. Hope everybody's psyched. Super Bowl parties and all that fun stuff. So, how's classes going, everybody? Gosh, motivation's killing me. How's classes? Come on. Good, bad. Let's go.
It was awesome.
Awesome. Sweet.
I should probably do flutter kicks.
Flutter kicks.
It's
terrible.
Good job. All right, so what I'm going to do, a couple things popped up during the executive board meeting. First up, I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Kelsey Carr to the Junior Senate. Is there a first? Manny, second, Matthias. Discussion. Stand up and introduce yourself.
Hi, for those of you who don't know, my name is Kelsey Parra. I was in SGA before. I had to leave for personal reasons, and I just want to join back. I've always liked being in student life, helping with anything else. I try to join even other committees just to go to their meetings and help all around campus and continue helping the students and representing them.
To add on to that, Kelsey has been very involved in the past with PC, Program Council, and student government. She's definitely a dedicated worker, and I'm sort of happy to see her come back. I'm also encouraged the fact that she did prioritize. She made sure that she could handle it before taking that step forward. So, sort of that kind of, character, that actions is to be admired. Any questions for Kelsey? Going once, going twice. All those in favor of appointing her to the Junior Senate? All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, next thing that we have, sorry about that. Next thing we have is we have a request from Dean Stoll. We have to appoint 2 students to search committees. One for the Director Campus Police Search Committee, which they are meeting this Thursday at 2 p.m. Am I correct, Bruce? Yeah. And then the second one is for the Director of Career Services Search Committee. I recommend, if anybody is interested in criminal justice kind of things, they definitely look at the Campus Police Search Committee. But we definitely do need 2 individuals appointed to these committees. If you were interested, step forward and say it. If you know somebody who's interested, speak to me on the side and let's get, talk to them and get them in there. This Thursday is, I believe, open to anybody or is that correct?
It's their first meeting where they'll get organized, so somebody could participate in it if they're available. If they're not, then I'm sure they'll set a schedule when the people are available.
Okay. So this Thursday at 2 p.m. and where's that meeting being held again?
Presidential conference room down there.
Okay. So if you're interested in joining that committee, you want to be a part of the initial setup and sort of have involvement also in trying to put a schedule together, I highly recommend that you show up there. Yes, Bruce?
Does anybody have questions? Do you know what a search is? Like, basically they'll be advertising and getting candidates and looking at resumes and then interviewing people, so they'd like to have student input into that process. That's what the request is for. Just want to clarify.
Sweet. All right, so just keep that in mind. Yes, DJ.
I can't make it Thursday too, but if we could schedule, find another time to do that.
Which one would you want to be in? There's Director of Public Safety, and we're looking for 1 student to be on that, and Director of Career Services.
Public safety.
Guys?
Does it have to be just a student government member or for like the...
It can be, we need 2 students. That's where if we know somebody that's interested, talk to me after. If somebody's interested now kind of thing, come forward. But yeah, it's any student. So, Joel?
Are
meetings every Thursday at 2, or?
Again, Thursday at 2 is when they're meeting and setting it up.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, one of our executive board meetings or something like that. It's like, oh, well, when's a good time to meet? Oh, this works for me, this works for me. All right, great, got a good time to meet. Yes?
I'll be there for Thursday for the public safety.
We just need one person who'd be willing to commit to do that, so I think I'm hearing 3 people who are interested in it. So, but we have 2 positions, so one is choosing somebody for career services, so maybe if somebody of the 3 could consider that position too.
When's that
And
meeting?
then we could appoint them officially
Yeah.
if they're interested here. And then I'll give your contact information to Dean Stoll, and they get in touch with you to try to invite you to as many committee meetings as you might be interested in. Does that seem okay?
Sweet.
Sorry, I was typing as you were talking.
Of you 3,
All right, we'll talk outside,
okay.
find out who's really, yes, I definitely want to do it. Second thing is kind of just, warning you guys that this stuff is going to be popping up. Speaker series, they're asking for funding again. We funded them for years, it's been an annual thing. Last year we had Newt Gingrich and John Irving. This year it's Anderson Cooper and Bobby Valentine. And the way it was set up last year is that we get 30 tickets for general admissions. Then we get 4 dinner tickets, and those are 4 VIP tickets as well, correct, Bruce? Okay. And last year, the way we did it is 30 tickets were open to pretty much anybody who emailed and said, yes, I want to do it, or no, I didn't. The dinner tickets we reserve for executive board members of groups and clubs as sort of a student government way of saying, hey, we value your dedication, your work, and everything like that. It's kind of a way to attract sort of a different audience. I know that Eric from WMWM went to the Newt Gingrich one, and he talked about how much it was eye-opening and how he was never really interested in the whole politics thing and everything. Because of that, he did start getting interested. And then also, because nobody was interested in John Irving, we sent our secretary Jess to go to the John Irving one. She talked about how great it was. Do we feel comfortable moving forward with this, or do we want to wait and give you guys some time to look into it you guys selves? I can go on about sort of informational spiel, but yes, Joel?
How much is it?
It's going to be $2,500. And other organizations that donate actually don't get nearly as much of the stuff that we get for $2,500. And Newt Gingrich, we gave away out of the 30 tickets, we gave all but 23 away. No, wait. Yeah, we gave 23 away. So that'd be 7 that we didn't give away. And all the dinner tickets went away as well. It's definitely something that students do engage. And just if you guys don't know, Anderson Cooper is CNN. And then Bobby Valentine is Red Sox manager. So like I said, do we feel comfortable moving forward with this, or do you guys want some more time to get additional information? So I'll go with Tom first.
I'd say yes, but I don't have to vote.
Okay. And BJ?
Just point of information, it's 2 parts.
It's 2 parts. The first part is going to be Anderson Cooper, and it's going to be April 24th on Tuesday night. And then the second part will be in the fall, November 8th. And we get 30 tickets for each event, so a total of 60. And 4 dinner tickets for each event, total of 8. And like I said, this is a lot more than other organizations. They kind of give us additional, since 1, we're a student organization, 2, they understand restrictions and all that stuff, but they want to reward the fact that, you have young individuals that are interested. This would be the 30th anniversary, and I believe that we've been supporting it for like 12 years or 15 years or something like that. Yeah, so it's been a long-standing thing. Joel?
I went to the John Irving last year, and I didn't know we got all the amenities with supporting them, but it was definitely worth it. I went before I joined SGA, so I think
Yeah.
before I joined. So it was definitely worth it.
So, Does everybody kind of feel like it's okay to move forward with this? All right, I'm going to, the specific word I'm going to put in this motion is to ensure that for both the end of this semester and the next administration that comes in has to adhere to sort of the motion that we're making now, so that way no changes can be altered in it. So I entertain a motion to have student government fund $2,500 to the speaker series, where we get 30 tickets that'll be raffled off to general student populace, and 4 dinner tickets that will be first raffled off to the groups and clubs executive officers. Secondary will be the student government senate, then the chairs, and the last priority given it to would be the executive board members. Does everybody understand that? So in terms of handing out tickets, it'll go to the groups and clubs officers first, then the senators, then the chairs, then the executive board members. And that all of that process will be held through Bruce and our administrative assistant in terms of the selection process. So that way we don't have our hands involved in it. Is there a first? DJ. Second? Joel. Discussion. Another kind of thing that I'm a firm belief is you always reward your workers. That's why the executive board is placed last, followed by the chairs and then the Senate. So you always reward your workers. Adam?
What about for graduating seniors? Like say if they want to go to the Bobby Valentine one.
You will not be a student.
Okay.
So, Tom?
Means you gotta pay.
Yeah. Joel?
Point of information, I believe it's open to the public, so they actually come in as well. They sell tickets at the door.
Okay.
Yeah, these tickets are for
Yeah.
students. So, Kelsey?
How many tickets was it you said is gonna go first to groups and clubs with
The executive board,
the
the
executive
4 dinner tickets,
4 dinner?
yes, which is you get dinner with the guest speaker prior, you get VIP seating, like right in the front kind of thing, and then after the event you actually go to a VIP section where you get to engage a little bit more social with all the VIPs. And it's for students only, current students, so you can go to the Anderson Cooper thing, Adam, but you wouldn't be able to go to the Bobby Valentine, so. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, another kind of warning thing. We're not going to be putting this to a vote because the executive board is going to research a little bit more. Once we find more information, we'll push it out to you guys. But another thing that SGA has done in the past is go on conferences for student government organizations. It's basically, last year we went to COSGA, which some of you have already heard, the Conference of Student Government Associations. It was held in Texas A&M. Basically, it's a conference where delegates from various student government organizations, whether they be executive board members, senators, chairs, whatever, they kind of all come together. There's like a lot of workshops. There's a lot of informational briefings, and it's very educational. Definitely gave a lot of perspective ideas. And if anybody's interested, we actually have a book on all the lessons that we learned from COSGA available to anybody if they want to read it. COSGA this year, we don't want to have to take the hit and pay for the $350. That's how much it would cost to send a delegate. So we're looking at another organization. It's called American Student Government Association. We've never worked with them before. We've never been a part of these conferences. So the executive board is going to look into a little bit more in detail. But the 2 dates that we could possibly be looking at is either March 3rd or April 14th, depending on the information that we find, determining whether it's worthy to push out. So that's just kind of a warning. No real conversation on it. It's just we're looking up information. Tom?
Has there been exploration into the lobbying thing down in DC? I know it,
Bruce?
Tried to locate them, but unsuccessfully. So if you have a name, or I wasn't able to find the correct group.
And kind of the reason why the executive board has decided to move forward with the conferences and not the lobbying is kind of two parts. One, there is organizations around Massachusetts that help train people how to lobby. We do have a lobby day as well set up. We feel that in order to continue to have new ideas, to find out, what other problems are happening with other campuses and how we can, sort of share stories. We just feel that the conference helps build up the organization a little bit stronger to help the actual students, as opposed to lobbying, which can sometimes be foreseen as pushing sort of personal issues, or the fact that, there's a certain stance kind of thing. So, but you'll get more information. Kind of already hit up the importance of your job, which is just obviously, check the minutes, following through with things. So, task completed. Look at the whiteboard. Sure, Jess will hit off on this in terms of office hours and everything like that. And yeah, that's all I got. Thanks. Thank you guys.
Hello everyone, how y'all doing? Good? Alright. So update on the groups and clubs dinner, haven't gotten too many responses back, so my goal is to get a lot of responses back to the dinner next Tuesday, and I'm asking for help. If anyone wants to help me, we're gonna go door to door to a lot of the groups and clubs offices, try, look for the members and stuff and see, if they want to go to the dinner. Just raise your hand if you want to help me. We can set up a time. It could be today, tomorrow, this week.
Why don't we talk about some sheet of paper?
Oh, yeah, since it's a lot of help. Thank you for the help. I'll pass out
We
a
did
sign
talk about
sheet.
you.
We need a secretary. Signing up for meters, I'll go for the member.
Okay.
Anyone ever answer?
And also,
Done with your report?
yeah, and the surveys, keep them coming. Keep going out, reaching out to people, drop them off at the office or with Kaylin. She's a student life chair, so the more surveys, the better. Just to remind you guys, the surveys are for a lot. When we walk around campus, we see a lot of problems and we solve them, but we also want to make sure that we're solving the problems and the issues that the student body wants. So I can be thinking the 5 top things that needs to be solved. We can go after it and try to solve in the student bodies. Like these are the concerns that we have. So that's what the surveys are for.
And I definitely would like to sort of do a personal shout out to BJ for actually setting up the database and inputting all the surveys that we've received so far. I think it's been like 120 or something like that, 160. BJ was given that task, starting off sort of hitting the ground running kind of thing, and he got the database up and running and those surveys implemented within a week and a half. So again, that's just definitely the type of dedication, and the importance of recording that is to record what area of the campus is suffering from what problems and how we can best address it in a quick manner. And the worst case scenario is, remember, if you can't solve the problem, at least have an explanation of why. Most people are fairly understandable if they understand why there's an issue, then as opposed to just saying, oh, that's the way things are, and you're on your own kind of thing. So remember, don't just stop at, if you hit a roadblock helping students, that's all I can go. Remember, follow through and do follow-up emails, follow-up conversations with the students that you're engaging. Use those surveys as you're walking around campus as a tool to open up and talk to students. Don't just hand them a survey and walk away. Actually use it as a tool to say, hey, by the way, my name's so-and-so, I'm student government, and I'm really interested in what you have to say. Students are busy, just like us, so they're just probably going to scribble something quickly, but if you sit there and talk to them and actually ask them to explain a little bit more, one, you're building a good rapport, and two, our reputation is definitely strengthening by saying student government actually cares about the students, as opposed to student government is just, well, I want something on my resume. So, but yeah, good job to BJ, as well as everybody else that's been involved in that program too. Charles?
I have something to say about the survey. Overall, I like the survey, but lately, I think he has it in his bag. We decided to put the survey in a file and hang it around campus.
Yep.
Yeah, this thing right there, I don't like it because, like you said, we're supposed to go towards students. You know, break the ice. We don't know them, but we're here. We're representing them. So I
And
don't like the fact that we have
to explain that,
Mhm.
it's very intimidating sometimes to come into our office. I mean, a brand new freshman coming into our office, or a sophomore transfer that doesn't know the system, it's extremely intimidating. We might not think so because we know each other, and we might not think so because we have certain characteristics that we don't matter about just going out and talking. That is to do two things. One, we still want to hear students' concerns. All right. So we want to give them the forum to complain. As long as we give them that forum, then it's up to them to actually submit it, and let us hear about it, okay? Two, resources. We can't be everywhere at once. I mean, you have people that are stacked up in residence halls that are very heavy on the Marsh, Atlantic kind of thing. You have a lot of commuters in here. We can't be on campus all the time, and predominantly most of the majors in this organization are sort of social science majors or something like that, where it's very heavy on Sullivan building, We have, I think, one person out in O'Keefe and a couple people in Central, but it's very heavy on North. So because we can't be everywhere at once, because we want to give students the forum to provide it, think of it like your boss coming up to you and say, hey, take a survey, and then standing right there watching you, that can be kind of intimidating. So we want to allow the students to choose how they want to talk to us. I stressed upon us to go out there and actually engage them. But like I said, it can be extremely intimidating, and we just don't have the resources to hear everybody. But as long as we have those set up, we can at least find out the voice, of the students that are too afraid to come to us, or the students that are working 2 to 3 jobs, that don't have time to talk about it, but can take a survey and go home with it, and then write it off, and then drop it off, So that's the idea behind that. The old ways was, yes, just go out and talk to students, but we were hitting up nearly as many students as we are with the survey program. Like I said, I think last year's surveys, we went on 3 months of doing that method of going up to students, and we only got about 300 or 400 surveys. Within a week and a half, we have 160 surveys. So it's just that's kind of where it comes at. Is we don't have the resources to push everybody out there, and it's kind of intimidating sometimes to actually be honest and give a true opinion with a person that's supposed to represent you, kind of thing. So, any other deal in surveys? I don't want to take too much of the surveys, and I definitely would like to see a little bit more survey reporting from student life. But Makai's definitely right in terms of just hitting it up. Yep. So, anything else?
Okay, so, earlier we had a malfunction with our PowerPoint, so I don't have the numbers up on the board, but we do have 2 Finance Committee proposals today, and we actually have a proposal coming from students, so that'll be interesting. So the first grouping club that we have presenting is Spanish Club, and they're requesting a total amount of $500, and the Finance Committee has recommended a total of $400. So I would like to entertain a motion to
Entertain a motion to approve.
to grant the Spanish Club $400 for their La Gringa NY trip. Do I have a first?
Joel, second. Rashede. Discussion?
Spanish Club wants to say a couple things about this trip.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Evelyn. I am treasurer of the Spanish Club. It's my first year. I'm a freshman, so I'm kind of new at this. Our mission
Congratulations.
our mission as a club is to bring the language and the culture to Salem State. And this event that we're doing, we're going to New York April 28th. The play that we're seeing is called La Gringa, and it's all in Spanish, but we do have headphones that can translate. So for anyone, you don't have to be a major or a minor in Spanish. Anyone that is interested can come. It's actually a lot of fun. We have 12 spots, and they have all actually been filled. In regards to costs, the tickets for 12 people is gonna be $264. And we counted up all the numbers for transportation. It's $36 since we're taking a bus, so it's $36 per person there and back. So altogether, that's gonna be $432 for transportation alone. Those two added up, the tickets and transportation, is $696. Our budget that we have for the Spanish Club is $200, so we're willing to put that in there as well. And I want to say thank you for giving us that money, the $400 that you guys are giving us, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do this and all that stuff. And then we're having 2 fundraisers actually, so we're raising the rest of the money. We're having it at Fire and Ice, so it's anyone that wants to go that brings in a little slip with, it says Spanish Club on it. We're actually handing them out on campus, so anyone that's interested can come up and just ask me for one or anyone in the club. And we give them out, and 10% of the bill goes to the Spanish Club. So we're using a lot of that money towards this trip. So it's a very great opportunity, especially if you want to expose yourself in the language and the culture. So we figured that was good to do for anyone that wants to join, not just people in the club, or anyone that's interested, pretty much.
Any questions for them? BJ?
You said that your budget for the year is $200.
That's how much we have right now.
And what's the total amount, or the total cost for the trip that you're requesting from us?
The total cost altogether without the $400 that you guys are offering us is $696.
So again, point of information, the finance committee's we decided to award $400. They're coming up with the rest of it. So there's student costs to this trip. So just I reiterate that.
And also, just again, reminder, process is finance committee grills them, and then it's up to the Senate to actually say, yes, we agree with the finance committee that they should be granted that money.
And next week I'll have the PowerPoint again, so I'll have all that dandy information about how much they have remaining in their budgets and stuff like that. So I apologize for that. That was a mishap on the communication. So I guess we're putting this to a vote now.
So all those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. Just remember, raise your hands high up. Jess does have eagle eyes, but sometimes.
Congratulations. Feel free to stay, free to go, do as you please.
You know you want to say.
Thank you.
You know you want to hear all that stuff.
Okay, the next group and club that we have proposing is the Philosophy Club, and they are proposing for a philosophy convention. It's like an inquiry or something like that. All right, I'm being a butcher. And the total amount that they're requesting is $1,200, and the finance committee has decided to fully fund this event. And I'm going to turn. I would like to entertain a motion to grant the Philosophy Club $1,200 for their inquiry conference.
Is there a first? Amadou, second. Machias, discussion. You guys are on.
Alright, hello. I'm Melissa Saginaw from the Vice President of the Philosophy Club, and
I'm Felicia. I'm the treasurer of the Philosophy Club.
so basically the Philosophy Department is holding a value inquiry conference here in Salem, and quite a prestigious conference. We have philosophers from all over the globe are flying into the city for this conference, and the club really wanted to sponsor the keynote speaker, Robert Audi, who's internationally recognized philosopher. He's really famous, and it's kind of a big deal. And we would need $600 total to do this. With the fundraising that we're doing and our club budget, we can raise about $400. So the $1,200 would be to be able to fund him. He's already spoken with the head of the department, of the philosophy department, and he's requested that he be able to interact one-on-one with students, have a panel where they can present their work to him. So we would be selecting student work from across campus, and it would just be a really great experience for students, especially because the philosophy department is really growing in these past couple of years. We're in the process of getting a major approved, and the philosophy club is expanding, and it would just be a wonderful resource for students to be able to interact professionally with potential colleagues, and especially someone with international acclaim. It would just be a great experience, and we would very much appreciate if we could do this. So.
Sounds great.
We're very excited.
Sweet. Love it. So, any questions? Willis.
When is it?
The conference is going to be the 18th through 20th of April.
Charles, you always got something.
Is there any cost on the students? And how much that will be?
To be participating or to be attending
Yeah.
the conference?
Yeah,
We do have seats reserved for students to, we have 12 seats reserved for the conference opening dinner so that they could participate in that as well. We would be selecting students on a first come, first basis to interact in there. I can't say right now if there would be a charge for students because it is a department sponsored conference. The club itself isn't sponsoring the conference, just the keynote speaker. So that's not something that I could say, but the club would be reserving seats for students beforehand to be just the opening dinner with the participants.
The thing with the keynote speaker too is that the students that are chosen and selected because their essays are so great are potentially grad students. So it'll be really useful if Audi can read and interact with them on their essays and making them better because it will help eventually with grad school.
Tom?
I believe the information that was given at the meeting by Anna said that this would be free to Salem State students.
Okay.
The conference.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, it's free to all Salem State students, and anybody from outside of the Salem State community has to pay $50 to get in. So.
Any other questions? Going once. Going twice. All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Congratulations. Feel free to stay. We know you guys want to.
Feel free to
Thank
go.
you, guys. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
And next up, we have some students, just regular, everyday students, that are coming to propose to the Senate. So they're going to tell you guys what they're here for.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
I guess I think they should tell them before we entertain anything.
Roger.
Okay, well, we are here representing Professor Mulcair's American Political Parties class. And what's going on this semester as part of our classwork, we are sponsoring a series of events called Campaigns on Campus. We're working with the Political Science Academy, the President's Office, and the Bates Institute or Bates Research Center, basically to host different campaigns for the United States Senate. The Massachusetts seat that used to belong to Ted Kennedy are going to be sending representatives here to interact with students and members of our community on 4 different dates. So essentially what's happening is 2 people who are running for Senate and 2 representatives of the other campaigns, or representatives of Scott Brown and Elizabeth Warren, will be coming here to interact with students, to speak a little bit, to answer questions, and I believe it'll actually be taking place in this room on 4 different Tuesdays, February 7th, Thursday the 23rd actually, February 28th, and March 6th. And then it takes place between 12:15 and 1:30 p.m. We're coming here to propose a co-sponsorship with SGA, as well as the other organizations that we're already working with, to help provide refreshments for these events since they're happening during the lunch hour, and also to help us cover the cost of advertising these events so we can be as successful as possible, and getting members of both the student community and the outside community here so we have the best possible political discussion with these potential candidates and their representatives. So the total that we're asking for is a total of $460 to help cover pizza, soda, and colored glossy flyers to put up all over campus, all over off campus, to kind of help make these events as great as we think they can.
And I would just like to mention to you guys, because you're asking for co-sponsorship from SGA, any flyers that you guys get, they have to get like our seal on it.
Absolutely.
So, okay.
And a little recognition always is good too. Saying, hey guys, this is brought to you by.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. So I just want to make sure, feel free to get with our PR person, who, Sarah, raise your hand. There you go. Just to aid in that process. Tom?
Do you have any numbers on how much other organizations have contributed?
I do not off the top of my head. Right now I know the President's Office has pledged to help out provide refreshments for the first and the last event, which is the 7th and the 6th. So we're asking for half of the refreshment costs for the series. As far as that, we got an informal, not a pledge, but an informal conversation with the Political Science Academy that they'd be able to throw in around $60 towards helping advertise costs.
Other organizations, we haven't gotten enough funding, but we've gotten advertising partnerships. They said they'd go out and help us promote the event, including Red Skies Magazine. We're going to speak to WMWM and promoting as well. So it's more, the other organizations are right now providing more support in the sense of contributing to getting the word out there about the event.
Any other questions?
Yeah, can you guys just like elaborate on why you guys think this would be important for the students, and why should the student government care about helping spread political awareness?
You wanna cover this one?
We feel this is a great opportunity to get not only people on campus, living on campus, but also commuters as well, to get familiar with the people that are running for the state of Massachusetts in the said spot. We feel that if we actually get students to meet the people who are candidates, that they'll be more involved and more likely to vote. And we're trying to get as many people from Salem to vote and meet the candidates.
So, bottom line, town halls, more student engagement into the political realm, and it's going to be weighed so that way there's going to be no skewness between, any political party, So, ideas from both sides are coming in.
Okay.
So,
I would like to entertain a motion to grant the students of Professor Mulcair's class a total of $280 for their candidates on campus event.
is there a first? Rochelle. Second? Caitlin. I like how people lower their hands down after I already call first, like, oh, I can't be first, so I don't want to support it. All right, discussion. Tom?
Point of information, wouldn't it be make a motion since it's not coming from finance committee?
Point of order, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that, Robert. Orders. Yes, that is correct.
Point of
So,
order, I would like to make a motion to grant the students of Professor Mulcair's class $280 for their candidates on campus event.
is there a second? Caitlin. Discussion. Any last minute? Yes, Charles.
I have a question. How much you asking for? 400, right?
Yeah, and that would be including advertising costs. 280 would cover the full amount of the refreshments for 2 of the events.
Okay, so how much you need? 400 or 200?
We need 280 to cover the refreshment costs, and then we appraise the advertising costs at 180, but that would include $40, three $40 series of advertisements for each of the individual events, and one $60 batch of large flyers. Those numbers were Professor Mulcair got them appraised how much it would cost us to
So
make
at
that.
the end of the day, how much you need SGA to give you? 200 or 400?
We are asking for 460.
So why can't you give them 400?
Yeah.
They're not even part of group. They're just students trying to bring awareness. I'm saying that's true because lately, candidate we're talking about getting rid of, Department of Education. How's that going to affect us? We're about to elect them, so it's important for us to know what they think about abortion and stuff like that. So, if they ask for 400 just for pizza, we should, what I'm saying, before we even vote. So.
Roger. The motion is to give them 280 for the refreshments and anything like that. Not for the advertisement online stuff. So that's kind of what we felt would be appropriate, but if we want to fund them the full amount, we could.
So can I carry something, motion or some?
Motion's already on the
There's a
table,
motion.
so what you'd have to do is you have to vote it down, and then you'd have to entertain a new motion or make a new motion. Bruce?
Don't you have other sponsors? Didn't you mention
We
there's other
do.
sponsor
Yes,
that's
we do have,
helping?
like I said, Political Science Academy has made informal, not a commitment yet, but they've informally expressed interest in helping fund advertising. So we do have other options, but that was just, we did come here first.
Willis?
As part of a member of the governmental relations here at Student Government, I know there are a lot of different positions in all local and state and federal government that need to get elected. You guys having any future plans to get any more people to come down, or it's just a one-time thing?
For right now, this is, like I said, this is part of actually a semester-long class. This is one of the initiatives we're taking as a American Political Parties class. So for this semester, this is the event that we have planned. but I actually, earlier when I spoke with the executive board, I did express interest in hoping that this could bring a future of political discourse in Salem State. Maybe this is something that would start something. If these events are successful, certainly candidates for other positions in the future would like to possibly host town halls here if they saw the success of the events. So the answer is no, we don't have anything else planned, but yes, that is a hope in doing this.
Manny?
I'd just like to say, I mean, us covering $280 for refreshments, you know, and this is just students coming to us, I think that's ample, you know, supply, that's enough money for an event like this. And they're just coming to us first. You don't know who else they could be going to. So they might be able to get departmental funding for the advertisements and things of that nature. So I mean, we're not obligated to fully fund the event either.
I mean, in addition, you also have the fact that if we're co-sponsoring, if Political Science Academy is co-sponsoring, that allows access to print off flyers in our own office. It may not be the pretty glossy flyers, but it's still flyers and pumping out information. In addition, it can also, by doing this co-sponsoring, it also puts responsibility on us to help promote the events. It's also going to be classified as our event, so that means our Facebook page, our sort of connections with other organizations, asking them to participate and whatnot. So that's kind of why we decided not to move forward with the full funding to include advertisement, because we have ulterior needs that we don't necessarily need to donate additional funds to this. We don't want to just throw money at an event when we have assets internally that we can exploit or use. Military thing. Charles?
Can we, like, okay, fund the event, right? Let's give them 400, right? Because they say that this Political Science Academy, whatever, is just a pledge, but it doesn't mean that they, at the end of the day, they will show up with some money. So why don't we just give them the 400 and we make sure that whatever is not used come back to us? You know, something like that.
Yes?
I think what he's saying, Charles, is we're supporting them, we want to sponsor the event, but because we have means that we can help them advertise, we have our printer in our office that they can use since we're co-sponsoring it, we're going to be helping them with advertisement. So we have ways of supporting them with advertisement without funding advertisement. Like they'll have access to our copier, to our PR, so it's just a different type of support.
And just remember that that money that we're, pushing off and giving away, that adds money for other organizations, other groups and clubs, other students that we'll be able to use. And like I said, we have assets. We have the ability to push out flyers. We have the ability to work with publications, have those abilities. So what I don't want this organization to do is anytime that there is an issue, instead of finding out what we have inside and using what we already have, not just throwing money away. A perfect example is a year ago we were looking at purchasing banners that say student government, and it would cost us I think like $300 or $400 for like those large banners or something like that. However, nobody looked through our supplies. And what do we have in our supplies? We already had huge banners in our supplies. The only thing that needed to be changed was college to university. They still said student government at Salem State. So I don't want us to just toss money and give money away when we already have the ability to just, as long as it's just looking through a supply closet or tasking a senator to use it as an office hour, So that's why I don't want to just throw away tons of money kind of thing. So.
And I can absolutely, as the representative of this, I think that is absolutely sufficient if the refreshments are covered through this organization. I think what we would need, and I think one of the things that the President is saying is that ultimately the concerted student effort of your organization to help us get people out would mean probably actually more than the money we're asking for advertising. So if we actually had you folks, attending the events, getting people you know to attend the events, helping us get the word out about these events, then that money that we would be putting towards advertising actually probably would be better spent somewhere else if we actually have a concerted student effort. And that's one of the things that, while discussing in the class, one of the biggest things that we're trying to do here through organizations on campus is reach as many different people as possible. We want these to be well-attended events. We want the discussions to be good. I think concerted student effort is just as important to us as money at this point. So,
Remember, you get a lot more student interest by standing up in your class and saying, hey, there's this event, you should join, as opposed to just printing off a flyer and tacking up on a wall where there's like hundreds of other flyers. So, and again, that falls on everybody's responsibility in this room to stand up in their class and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, this event's happening. You know, you guys should check it out. So. All right, if there's nothing else, I think that we're pretty much beating this horse down. All right, so let's vote on it. $280 to fund the food and all that stuff, as well as co-sponsoring the event, which allows, you know, the fellow students to utilize our assets internally. Is there all those in favor? The motion's already there. All those opposed? Abstentions? Awesome, motion carries.
Congratulations. We'll just talk later.
excellent, thank you, man.
No problem.
And like I said, make sure you get with our PR person to assist in that. So, anything else?
Yeah, this is not so much concerning any kind of treasury stuff. Now that the office has been open, I guess I wanted to talk about office etiquette and the way that we should be behaving in the office. Number one, it's a professional environment. So like when you're there, try to be occupied doing things. It's okay if you go in and you do your homework. Like we all utilize the office for different reasons. But one of the things that I want to talk about is like elections and campaigning. There's a precedent in the office that we don't talk about positions that we want to run for in the office. So I've just heard chatter. I'm not going to call anybody out. I'd just like to ask people not to talk about those kinds of things in the office because that's unethical, plain and simply. And then also just clean up the space when you're using it because it is our office, and if it looks a mess, that looks bad on us. And that's it.
All right, to add on that, Manny, the rules committee is actually tasked with coming up with the actual standards, so it's no longer hearsay precedent, but hammered out. That's what they're going to be working on in terms of researching the election process. So, I mean, definitely valid points, but it's going to be a process built between the executive board and the rules committee.
And I think just what I'm saying is I think it's unethical for members of student government to be engaging in that kind of conversation in the office.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm just building on what you're saying.
Yeah.
So. Louis?
Well, I haven't really been around the office because I've been working a lot, but thank you for just letting me know what's going on. I'll look into it with my community. We'll talk more about it later.
Awesome. Anything else? Adam?
I mean, do you need to go over the SGS proposal too? Or is that already voted on?
Oh crap. Sorry, that last conversation.
Organizational professionalism.
It's the PowerPoint. When the PowerPoint's gone.
Point of information, what proposal?
Mine.
What is the, are you gonna pick?
Salem Geographical Society.
Jesus Christ. Sorry about that.
Salem,
Thanks, Manny.
I apologize. Without the PowerPoint, that's just, alright. So, I would like to entertain a motion to grant the Student Geographical Society a total of $450 for their convention trip.
450?
Is
450, 650.
Is there a first?
450?
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
It's giving $450 to the Geological Society. I'm sorry, Adam. You
Geographical
smart face.
Society.
Geographical Society. Yeah. So, is there a first? Machias, second, Caitlin. Discussion. Adam, why don't you stand up and correct our butchering of your gloves name?
Alright, I'll try making this short and sweet. We met last year, end of last year, we knew this was the National Geography Conference coming up, and we wanted to know if students wanted to go. Some showed interest, and they were gonna try to end up going, but with this is in New York City, prices are kind of skyrocketed. If anyone's been in New York City, you know how expensive things can get. The total cost of everything for registration and hotel totaled over $200 a piece. So we had some students backed out. When I met with the finance committee, it ended up being just me and one other student. The other student has since backed out. So I guess they came up with, I'm the only one going as like the representative. So That's more or less it. This is the National Geography Conference, and I'm going because I'm presenting there. Presenting with one of the professors. I know some of the grad students presenting, other professors are presenting there. And
And
it's,
I would just like to point out that there's a limit as to how much we can give per student and all this different stuff. So that was the amount based on 2 students. So anything that is not spent, like there's only a certain amount of that is going to Adam anyways. All that money is coming back to us. So he's not spending the whole $450 at all. So Tom, why don't we get the?
Or why don't we just vote down the motion and just give it the correct amount?
Okay. We can do that too.
Wait,
Have math on that?
slow us down for 1 second.
He has it on paper.
Point of information.
All right, Jess.
Yeah.
What's happening is the 450 was
Was
based
for
off 2
2 so we're
students.
cutting it in half. So
We're
Tom
going
made a
to-
point of information to get rid of the motion.
No, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna vote that down, redo another motion, and find out the exact amount. So that way we're not granting 450, so we'll be granting.
So let's vote on that now, so I can get that out.
Well, he has to vote
Yeah.
on the current motion.
So, we can't say vote it down, but is there a first? Or, wait a minute, all those in favor?
No.
No, we can't tell them to vote a certain way.
What if you need snack money?
All right, all those opposed?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Remember, everybody has to vote.
Charles, you up or down? Okay, start over. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Abstentions?
2.
All right, motion fails. Is there a new motion you want to make?
Yeah, I'd like to entertain a motion to grant the SGS, because that's very complicated to say, $72.30 for their convention.
172.
Convention.
Is there a first?
30.
BJ, second. You can raise your hand. No, you don't want to? Okay. Rochelle. Discussion. You guys already heard it. Let's just go to the next phase. Unless you want to say something.
no.
No,
Okay. Don't jump the gun on me. All right. All those in favor? Or opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Congratulations. You're free to go, of course. Actually, you gotta stay.
What to do?
Tom, I'm gonna give you your.
Don't worry about it.
Can you guys pass that around to Tom? I'd just like to say thank you to Tom for everything that he does and for always having my back. And I think I had a longer report than Rick today. I mean, that's an all-time first in SGA history.
Wait until the budget. To update everybody on the budget, like I said, we have 2 applicants. We have, which is under the assistant points. We have 2 applicants. We're going to be doing an interview process within the next 24 hours. We're going to extend the deadline a little bit longer, just so that way we can hear from more applicants. But we will make a decision next Tuesday, and that decision will be either move forward with appointing one of the applicants and having them take over, or suspending the Constitution and moving Tom forward with being the Budget Committee Chair. All right, so that's just kind of FYI for you guys. That's all. Committee or that. Secretary's report.
Hi everybody. So I'll try not to be lengthy. A really good news I have about the office hours is, I want to thank everybody. So thank you for all doing office hours. I really appreciate that. Carrie's been helping me a lot with office hours now that she's in the office as a obviously full-time position. She'll be there to help you find out what you can do and to help you log them. Just to reiterate it again, check your whiteboard. The chairs have been really good. So thank you, chairs, for contacting me about your office hour work. So there is plenty of work to be done. So just be aware of the whiteboard. And also on Carrie's desk, right next to it is a black filing cabinet, and she set up the office hour book on that. So just make sure that after you do complete your office hour, you're writing it down and having either Carrie's at lunch, one of us on the e-board sign off on it, or her. And if you have any questions about like office hours and how they work and what happens if you miss them, it's all in your Constitution. Which also I'm working with Carrie on. You'll be getting updated constitutions very soon for this semester. Next thing is attendance. As of right now, nobody has any attendance issues, so thank you. And again, we're all here, so that's great. And then I guess the last thing I'll touch on is the minutes. Rick covered basically everything that I had to say about the minutes, so thank you, Rick. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate your support. And I just want you guys again to know how important it is when you're voting on anything in student government, when you're voting on a finance proposal, when you're voting on the minutes. You know, you're not voting for yourself, you're voting for the students that you represent. And it's a really, really important position that you hold, and it's really, really important that you know what you're voting about. And that's why you can't abstain. So if you're not sure, or if you're biased on an issue, or if you didn't read the minutes, and like I said, stuff happens. You know what I mean? That we're not always going to have an opportunity to do it every single week, and I understand that. Just abstain when you vote. And you know, it's important to me. I take time out of my own personal life to do the minutes every Thursday night, and to be here on Tuesday night to type them up. I could be working, and I'm here. So I just appreciate the same amount of effort from you guys. That, you know, we're all volunteers. I know everyone understands that. So thank you, and I hope that we look at it. And that's another thing too. If you do catch something in the minutes, I know Adam's been great about it, and Joel. Send me an email. You know, I spelled Rochelle's name wrong, and my autocorrect calls Manny. So if stuff like that comes up, just email me. You know, I'm human too, so there are mistakes in the minutes occasionally, and we can fix them. So for the long term, the minutes are corrected and nice and neat. So does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
When are we supposed to expect the minutes to be mailed out?
Thursday nights.
Okay.
Thursday nights, no later than 9 o'clock.
Yep, I have a class till 7, so sometimes when I get out, I polish them up, but by 9 o'clock Thursday nights, the minutes are out.
That also goes for agenda. I mean, obviously, it falls on some of the executive board for not actually pushing out agendas all the time. Sometimes they just don't have anything. That's why there is no agenda. But chairs, definitely add something to agenda. I mean, we have an agenda during the PowerPoint, but it'd be great if you could also send whatever you guys plan on talking about. Doesn't require a full-length paragraph, a blurb at most. The importance of the agenda is to allow everybody a heads up on what we're going to talk about. The reason why is because in the past, there used to be, you know, things that would happen where, you know, I'm going to launch a surprise on student government and move forward with appointing something that I really like because it's my kind of pet project kind of thing or whatever, you know. Not that I'm saying that I did that, but it's to allow at least 2 full business days for in the agenda process to allow you guys to talk to the chair or the executive board member. It also allows the chance for you guys to look up your own information on a topic and to address it however you guys see fit. So yeah, just kind of a heads up on what we're talking about. Make sure you send that to Jess no later than, I guess, Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, and another thing that's important too, with the agenda, another thing that Carrie's also been helping me with is she'll be handling the PowerPoints from now on. So chairs, if you want to send your office hour tasks and your points for the PowerPoint to Carrie, she'll be handling that from now on. Because I took on those responsibilities when Sharon left. So now Carrie will be resuming the role. But e-board, anything that you have will go to me or our separate agenda that goes out with the minutes. But are there any questions about any of that I can?
Willis?
Maybe I missed the explanation, but what was wrong with the original minutes?
Nothing.
All right, the thing was Thursday, set of minutes were sent out. They were blank. And then nobody reported the fact that there were no minutes. Okay, there was a handful of people that reported. You happy, Tom? Yeah. Anyways, majority did not say anything about the minutes. And that was kind of just a way to see, are you guys actually reading or not? And then to ensure that we don't set anybody up for failure, a full set of minutes were sent out Monday night, but the fact that, you know, again, majority did not catch that is an issue. So.
And that's the thing, like I said, email me. If your name is spelled wrong, if something doesn't open right, if the attachment's not opening right, there's always a way for me to get the information to you. So just email me. Don't be afraid to ask me. If I make a mistake, call me out on it. You know, that's what I'm here for. You email me though.
So, anything else?
What? Thank you. And like I said, thank you guys for your cooperation, because I am really, really happy about attendance and office hours, so that's been fantastic. And chairs, thank you for your cooperation. And, that's the last word, that's everything.
Alright, senior center report. Nothing? Something? Erica?
Ian and my roommate, Maria, we went to a residence life and we told them about the bug issue. They had someone come in, generators, and spray under the doors and areas like that, but it's still a problem.
Still a problem?
Yeah. Still seeing little bugs everywhere. And apparently the boys that are across from us, they have bugs too.
Okay. Two things. One thing, I just guess, continue to document and, you know, squeaky wheel gets the oil kind of thing.
Yeah.
So make sure you're always hitting up that. Two, it's also personal responsibility. I'm not saying that, you know, you are, but I'm sure that, you know, certain dorms and everything like that definitely do not keep up with cleanliness. In terms of washing dishes, taking out trash. And like I said, it's not at you, but I have been in some of those dorms and they are pretty atrocious.
No, I know, but
So-
we do a good job at keeping the place clean.
Yeah. But like I said, you know, it's a two-part thing. One, definitely keep it on Res Life, you know, and keep us updated on that status. And two, you know, if you see something dirty or something like that, feel free to tell whoever owns that dorm, hey, you know, your 3-day, 5-day, month-old thing that's growing in the sink.
Can you stop?
Kelsey, do you have anything to add on the bug issue?
I mean, if it's spiders, Bates has spiders all the time. If it's something other than that, then I don't know. But if it's spiders,
It's like
then
everything. It's spiders, centipedes,
Yeah,
how
no,
do you call those?
no, spiders and centipede, you will always see them because
I'm never going to Bates again.
no, the first thing a lot of people tell you
Alright,
when you
guys.
go there, they do have spider and centipede. I mean, my apartment doesn't have. They have small spiders. We found them in the bathroom sometime here and there, but I don't know about anything else. So.
I think we should just get rid of them.
Alright, so, again, keep us updated on it. Make sure you keep hitting up Res Life to make sure that the bug problem is taken care of. So, thank you for your work. You're doing a good job, as Hancock would say. One person gets it right.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. Alright, anything else from Mighty Seniors? Going once, going twice. Juniors? Kelsey?
I don't know if anybody could help me with this, but I know the South Campus gym is not really like, it's more open to anybody. But I was wondering who can I talk to be able to just have it open for Salem State students?
I'm guessing it's the same person that we brought up last week, Tom?
Scott Kaufman is in charge of the South Campus gym. The problem though is around this time, there's a lot of intramural sports that want to book that, or even just student groups and clubs that book it for basketball, soccer, indoor soccer. The Ultimate Frisbee, North Forest, we had our practices there like 2 or 3 nights a week. So it gets tough booking time down there.
Jess?
What was his name?
Scott Kaufman.
Scott Kaufman.
Manny?
I think what Kelsey was saying that she doesn't have a problem with like groups and clubs or like members of Salem State community using it. I think the problem is people from outside. So her question is there a way that we can get like policy implemented that says that only Salem State students are allowed to use the facility? But I think the problem with that is that because we're a state school, this is a public building or something like that, right?
Kelsey?
I'm just saying because I've like in the past I've heard things that have happened to even students from our school because we have people, you know, from other places come in and they start fights or they just leave a mess or anything. So I'm just trying to see if like, you know, people could use it probably, you know, but just have a way of seeing who comes in and who goes out, like, you know, like just keep it because it is our gym for everybody else to use. So we want to make sure that we maintain it and not just get it trashed all the time or anything like that. So.
Tom?
Again, the person to speak to would be Scott Kaufman, but I know that a lot of places are offered to local areas. like you have the ice rink at O'Keefe is used by a lot of youth hockey teams. I know that there's been youth baseball tryouts in the South Campus gym and youth baseball and soccer signups there. But in terms of other people outside, I mean that would just be an issue because the Scott Coffee. But it would be a tough thing to kind of police because then you'd have to have somebody sitting up there outside at all times.
Kelsey, this is last.
Yeah. Where can I find Scott?
He's at the O'Keefe building. If you walk all the way up the ramp, look straight all the way down, there will be a place called Athletics. And he's right in there. There's a secretary, the administrative assistant up there. I can't remember her name.
Another thing you do is go to Salem State, click directory, and type Scott Kaufman in the first and last, and then you'll get his contact information that way too. All right. Anything else, Mighty Juniors? DJ?
This morning I heard a student talking about how awful their weekend was. They got into a bit of a domestic dispute with their significant other, and it escalated to violence. Fortunately, they're no longer together as an item, thankfully. But I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention that that stuff still happens. Out of a student population of, how many do we have?
10,000 total. We have about 7,000 undergrad, and then 3,000 of nighttime and grad students next.
Many of which are commuters, many of which are, and the rest of which are in the dorms. With that many people, unfortunately, something like that is bound to happen. And if you do hear about anything like that, just please help them in any way that you can. And if you do not feel that you are able to do that, let me know or let someone else know, and we can help that particular person.
So 2 things, hearing that problem that we can move forward with is 1, working with, I guess that would be health services, in terms of the counseling thing, trying to find out information about, domestic disputes and all that stuff, put it together via working with them, that way push that information out, educate, possibly even getting a guest speaker to come in here and talk about, what would be the best approach if that is going on. And then kind of the second thing is we could even look at down the road at some point in time, and whoever wants to do this definitely would fall under the student life, would be looking at, and then also there's also groups and clubs out there too that deal with this, but looking at guest speakers to educate the student populace as well, creating kind of an awareness day that this happens. And again, you definitely want to check with some of the other groups and clubs. Is there groups and clubs that already do this, like the Women's Center kind of thing, or Seaside Week? So definitely get with them, see what they have in store. Like I said, we could probably get somebody from Health Wellness to come up here and talk about, what would be best. And that's kind of how I see, or how I would address that issue. Is there anybody that has any input to that? Louis?
When it comes to domestic violence and stuff that happens around campus, it usually goes towards Sean Newton. And if you're trying to help them out, and if they already got kicked out, they probably already got a call from Sean Newton because he's the one that goes through all that. He oversees all that, being the assistant dean of students. So if you want to help them out, you could definitely go to Sean Newton. If you need more help with that, I can help you with that as well.
So does anybody want to tackle that issue and move forward with those proposed actions? Kaylin, you want to volunteer for that? Okay. I would say, would about 2 weeks give you enough time to put together some sort of plan at least, and talk with various groups as well as health and wellness? Okay, so 2 weeks, we'll hopefully hear a brief. But good job, DJ, for bringing that to our attention, and good job, Galen, for taking all of that, as well as Louie for adding information. Any other issues? Charles, quick question on you. How was that issue that you were working with Bruce last week?
Well, pretty much an update. Last meeting I mentioned, I brought up the issue that I went to the bookstore and whatever happened. I met up with the manager of the bookstore. I can't remember her name. Mr. Bruce was there. We went over that. But I would like to apologize first of all because I don't know, there was probably miscommunication because I was saying that I went in the store and the lady was asking me to remove my hood. I was talking about this. I wasn't talking about the entire, hoodie outfit. But, when I went to the lady, she assumed that I made my entire outfit because that's what she received as information. But that's what I know what I meant. So, we went over that. She was sorry. I told her that my intention was not to get the lady in trouble, or get fired because, we're going to a recession, whatever. So, I was just trying to bring it to her attention. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, the bottom line is there's no policy. Okay, there's no policy that says you can't, come in with your hat or you can't come in with your hoodie. But they just install some new cameras, trying to see what's going on and, if anything happened, maybe you never know if somebody steals some or anything that happened, they want to be able to see the face of the student or whoever was in the store. So pretty much, just pretty much she say that, she will probably kindly ask you to, remove your hat, but there's no such policy. So pretty much she didn't convince me, but, overall, I understand where she was coming from, The bookstore is a good place to go, but overall, it's a sad event that happened, hopefully, it won't happen again. The funny part was when I was leaving with Mr. Bruce, after the meeting, a student came through with his hoodie, went through and then happened, that was funny. So pretty much that's what's going on, that's the update about that.
Unreal.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like. Bruce, do you have anything to add in terms of that?
Just what I appreciate, Charles, coming forward. And part of the, I have to own the responsibility for some of the miscommunication because it's setting up the meeting with Elizabeth Finney, the manager. My understanding from hearing Charles speak last week was that he was being asked to take off his whole sweatshirt to walk in kind of thing. That's how I heard it. And so I misunderstood that to be clarified. So that's what I had told her sort of walking into the meeting.
Okay.
She said it's not a policy, but they have been doing it because of these cameras, but she understood they need to be consistent, so that she did agree that if they were going to enforce this consistently, they would put up signs that ask them to remove their hats or take their hoods down. And it's essentially to make the cameras effective, so that if something were to happen to somebody in the store, whether somebody is a victim of something or whether something happens where they need to locate somebody, they would have that information to go back and look at somebody. Okay. For now, she said they're not going to do that unless they put up signs.
Don't stay soft.
We need sophomores.
One sophomore.
We need sophomore senators.
I have something to say.
Danny.
So, student was obviously not a sophomore, but I've had several people from the Bowditch Residence Hall come up to me, about 10 people I know, saying that they've all lost their guest privileges and nobody knows why. So I don't know if this is just something like a student life concern. Obviously this deals with RHA, so if anybody wants to take that on, or anybody knows why they lost their guest privileges, so I can tell these students, all right, this is exactly what happened.
I would suggest that whoever decides to tackle that, which I'm assuming Rochelle's volunteering for it, would get with you to find out all the details, so that way they're not going in kind of blind. Rochelle?
It was a posting of some sort that occurred, and that's why we lost our guest privileges.
Oh.
And no one has stepped up for saying that they did that, so that's why Bowditch lost their guest privileges. But I can go further more into it if you think I need to do that.
What posting? Like what?
I actually was told logo was posted up or something like that, and that's why we lost our guest privileges. But like I said, I'll look further more into it.
Awesome. Doing great things.
They're proactive, I'm talking to students.
I'm happy. Feel free to bring that in your treasurer's report for new business. So, sophomore senators, Matthias has his Meet SGA thing coming together to try to attract more sophomores. But again, it definitely falls on you guys as well. If you know somebody, remember quality, not quantity. We don't want to just fill positions. We want people that are actually proactive and go out there and help students. So don't, necessarily trick people to join the organization. Let them know that it is work, but that, we love what we do. What we do is help students. So that kind of slogan. But yeah, you have sophomores, get them to come to a meeting, get them to hang out, and let's try to get more involvement in sophomores. Freshmen. Rochelle.
I don't know, I've brought this up before, but the heating is still an issue, and on the surveys, that's what has been, people when I get to talk to them, that's what they're bringing up.
Okay.
Do we know when the heating services are like terminated or?
For water or?
Not the water,
For the actual room, like, temperature of a room.
I'm not saying I was complaining about
No,
water.
it's valid. I'm not making fun of rocks and sticks. So.
It's been since the winter started.
Okay.
Even before that, people have been complaining about it.
I'm a commuter, so I'm clueless. My thing is going to be talk to Res Life or RJ or something like that, but if anybody has additional, Kelsey.
Usually they turn on themselves, they leave them at a certain temperature. They do get extremely hot. Sometimes in the rooms you are able to control them, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But they end up shutting it off between April. Sometimes around April they end up shutting them off. So my best bet either get fans or open your windows, because that's what I had to do my freshman year. Because this is way too hot.
Shelly?
Is there a way of telling maintenance to like lower down the temperature?
I would assume that there's a building director for the Bruce.
There's an RD for each building you can speak to, and over the facilities person, the residence life is Tony Denuso.
Okay.
Capital D, small I, capital N-U-C-Z-O. I don't know his number off the top of my head, but again, with the director, you can locate it.
So, Shelly, you're going to next week tell us about all the wonderful things you're doing?
Yes.
Sweet. And hopefully we can get that issue resolved as quickly as possible. So, doing great things. Tom?
Unfortunately, I have to go to a open house for where I'm student teaching. So wondering if I can entertain a motion to suspend the agenda, because I have some things that are time sensitive in my report that I would like to get to.
Is there a first?
5 minutes.
Manny, second. Rochelle, discussion. Val introduced, think we should support it. That's kind of my say. Anything else? Going once, going twice. All in favor?
Hold on, Rochelle, and who's second?
So,
Me.
yeah,
Manny?
Rochelle and Manny. All opposed?
Did you fall or did you raise your hand?
Abstention.
You abstained?
And with that, motion carries, suspended agenda. Tom?
So the thing that I wanted to do is it's actually not on my report. It's something different. Well, it actually is on the Get Your Candy class. Everything else I can touch up again later. What we're doing is for the Get Your Candy class, we're working with the A to Zeta Honor Society. We secured a pair of Red Sox tickets from Dr. Pastorini to be raffled off to the person who donates, or every person that brings in 5 items will be entered in once to a raffle. The more items you bring in, the more times your name is entered in. What we also wanted to do is have the class that raises the most throw like a pizza party or whatever. And because we just established ourselves this past semester and we're growing, we don't have any funding or haven't been able to fundraise yet. Or looking to possibly have a pizza pizza or ice cream social for that class. So I wanted to entertain a motion to fund a pizza or ice cream social, which would be in the amount no more than $81 by my quotes for the Get Your Candy class event.
Is there a first? Kelsey, second. Erica, discussion. Tom has brought this to our attention last week. Talked it over, said that I was in support as long as we get dollar amounts. We have dollar amounts now. I think it's a great initiative to co-sponsor this and get the cans in. So my opinion is it's definitely moving forward with, yeah, I think so, but I can't vote. So, Doug, any other discussions?
I just say the thing, like I broke it down, it's $81 for a pizza party, and that includes 7 pizzas, 30 different sodas and water. And then the ice cream party would be $76.25 for 25 people, and that's roughly the largest class size. Largest class I've ever been in at Oak Keith has always been, 20. So we'll exceed that limit.
Doing great things, Tom. Treasurer's still great things. All right. Any other discussions? Discussions. Looks like a question and discussion. Discussions. A little more than these for you. Yes, Joel.
I just had a quick question about the old library that they're gonna tear down.
Joel,
Yes.
what are we talking about right now? We're talking about ice cream social. We're talking about pizza parties. Engagement committee, $81 for ice cream social or pizza. All right, opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Any last minute things you want to hit up?
Not really, because I really do care.
All right.
Because it takes about 30 minutes to get there. But either Rochelle or Caitlin, if you can bring up the idea about the Easter egg hunt thing, because I know it's not on there. But bring it up during when the
New business?
That'd be awesome for your co-chair to bring that
So
up.
just hit up on that. And thanks everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
So, freshman, do you have anything else to add? Sure.
Well, I'll ask.
Joel, who's a freshman senator talking to another freshman senator board.
I had a couple of people ask today in my macroeconomics class what the school is going to do with the old library once they tear it down. That area.
My understanding, what they're going to do with that space, like
Yeah.
the land.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you asking about that space or the space in the business center?
No, the actual
building they're
they're
tearing
gonna tear
down.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
From my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, right now they're building a library/science center that's going to be attached to Meyer, I believe. Bruce, I'm looking at you.
What I know is that the library learning commons is being built in wings, and that they're doing this one wing, they're gonna tear the rest of that down, they're gonna extend the building that way, but it's not gonna entirely fill that space, so I think they're gonna recapture some green space on that side. I know that science labs have been discussed, I don't know if it was that a piece of that is gonna somehow be saved and gutted and turned into science labs attached to Meyer.
Okay.
That may be.
The last thing I heard was that it was just gonna be science labs and libraries, and that actual space was, it's not gonna be used for parking. Nah, sweet. Curiosity.
Check.
Satisfied? Problem solved, problem stay solved. Rules.
How you guys doing? I really didn't get to meet up with Sean Wednesday because it was pretty busy with our early email that he sent me. So I'm gonna meet up with him next Tuesday, and if you wanna come, DJ, if you wanna come next Tuesday around 1:30, we're gonna be.
Hey, you sitting over there.
So like around 1:30, we're gonna meet up over there, and so I'm gonna contact, is it Carrie, the person?
Carrie,
Yeah,
is the administrator.
for some office hours
Okay.
work, because I really need your guys' feedback. If I could bring back to Sean Nolan, so you can have a better view of what you guys want to be fixed in the comic book. So that's something that I'm gonna get her email later. And I'm gonna tackle on what Manny was talking about earlier. So we'll get more responsibilities about that. And
What I suggest moving that forward is definitely getting with Bruce 218, because there is a list of do's and don'ts, but there was also unsaid things as well. And what I really want to do is officially add that to our sort of standard operating procedures. Not necessarily a constitution, just because I don't think that we should actually cement every single thing into the Constitution for micromanagement process. We definitely want to give you, future administrations the ability to navigate, but I definitely think that there does need to be something a little bit set in stone for instructional purposes of incoming new people to the organization. Obviously, people like you and myself have been here for a couple years. We already kind of know, but with Sharon gone, this is what we used to do kind of thing has faded away, so it'd definitely be nice to have some actual documentation that states, above just the, hey, you're going through the election process, but like actually specifies, this is typically what we don't do, this is typically, what you shouldn't do, kind of thing. So, Bruce?
I'd certainly be happy to get together and work with you on that.
I'll let my committee know about it, we'll meet up together.
Okay.
Promote synergy.
And I will have a meeting after this. That will be my annual report.
Awesome. Good job. Student life.
Okay, I just want to say to anyone who's on my committee or interested in being my committee, please check your emails. I tried getting a hold of everyone in my committee 3 ways: by their mailbox, by their student government, or their student email, if I could speak English properly. And if I was friends with any of you on Facebook, I tried to contact you through Facebook. Only 2 people got back to me. And that doesn't really make a lot of sense, seeing as I have one of the largest committees. So please just be checking your mailbox. I left you guys letters on Thursday. And in order for us to get stuff done, you guys need to be able to respond. I don't want to be like that person who's like hounding you guys, but I really need some sort of response at some point. In regards to how we can get people more involved with events on campus, I met with BJ. We came up with a pretty good list about 20, 25 ways we can do that, so we're going to start applying those to different events around campus. I also emailed Amy from Program Council about seeing if she'd like to get together and plan something, and to talk to her about how she's been handling things. However, she hasn't gotten back to me yet. I'm still waiting on her email. On February 6th, at 1 p.m. I have a meeting with Joe Dunn and Joe Kellen about the Disabilities Awareness 5K. I will keep you guys posted as soon as that happens. We're going to discuss pretty much if it's feasible for us to do a run without stepping on toes. If it's not, we're going to proceed with a guest speaker. And I just wanted to not necessarily beat a dead horse, but with the surveys, first of all, I'd like to thank Erica for doing that right before the meeting. It gave us a lot of important things to think about. So thank you, Erica. But something I found kind of alarming was at the section where it asks, how can SGA help your college experience? 2 out of the 8 surveys we got back said, I don't know what SGA is. So I don't know if that's necessarily they didn't realize what the acronym was, or that we're not putting ourselves out there enough, but at that point, it's 25% of the surveys I have in my hands that didn't know what SGA was. So that's a problem.
Okay, with that, I would say that your sample size is very small.
I know, but it was like 5 minutes before the meeting.
And I understand.
We have many more surveys.
So I think we have like 160 on file right now, BJ. So I will say this: in the past, yeah, that would be a valid thing. A lot of people didn't know what student government was. We had no sort of outside. I want to say hats off to the PR committee, because we made tremendous strides in the past year to really push ourselves out there. So with that, I would just again caution, sample size is really small, 8, 2 kind of thing. And yeah, you got it in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
but
I'm not trying to say like it's a
understandable.
scientific study or
Before officially support and stuff like that, I'd definitely probably check the 160 other surveys that we have, get a little bit more better representation. statistics are fun.
Yeah, I was just bringing that up because I feel like as individuals, we need to start pushing out more and getting SGA out there more. Like, it's not just Sarah's responsibility to do it. And that was the main thing I had to say.
Yes, Manny.
Oh, I just wanted to touch and say, maybe for the next batch of surveys, just to write out Student Government Association instead of using the acronym. So that's just a suggestion for whoever creates the surveys, BJ.
Noted.
Okay.
And even for the surveys, when you're handing them out, just before you even hand it to them, just tell them a little bit what student government is. That just automatically solves that issue right there. The other piece, the only issue, if we have that again, should be for the ones we leave in the dorm rooms, or if we leave in like a building, then they're like, what's student government? But while we're handing the surveys out, we can say, hey, student government, we're an organization that helps students. We try our best to, reach out and try and solve these issues and see what the students want. So that can solve the issue right there. The only future ones is like for on-campus here, like different buildings, and for the returning, like new students. So if a lot of new students came in, they don't know what student government is, they don't know what MSA is, program counselors, they don't know what anything is, and we continue like promoting it. And last year, I mean, we did a lot of promoting, we tried our best, but I think that's probably the thing too.
All right, two things. One thing, yep, survey, beat dead horse. Remember, I think I've said this since day one of joining student government, is you have to stand up in your classes and say you're a representative of student government, you're here to hear their problems. I know of two individuals that I'm in class with that were a little shy of doing that. Not calling out names, but we're economics people. And so remember, stand up, say it. Second thing is, we spent, average meeting time is about an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half. We spent so much time talking about the same stuff, harping on emails, harping on surveys, like, we can go back to long meetings if people stop doing what they're supposed to be doing and go to 6:30 where we have to, have recess for a half hour and then come back at 7 and then go the rest of the night. Or we can actually do what's expected of us, stand up, say the things, respond to emails, read the minutes, actually take this job seriously and move on from there. So just remember, right now it's about 6:20, and majority of this meeting has always been about surveys, attendance, emails, reading all that stuff, and participation. So if you guys want, I got nothing better to do. We can spend all night, here talking about the same old stuff, or we can start motivating each other, helping each other, and getting us to the caliber of students that I know we all are, the leaders that I know we all are, all right? So, we're adults. We shouldn't be sitting here talking about checking an email and responding to it, giving the respect of another person, that they deserve. If you're in a committee, listen to your chair, they're a chair for a reason, okay? If an executive board member asks you to do something, follow through with it, check the emails. Otherwise, you're just pretty much disrespecting us. So let's, actually do that. Otherwise, we're going to have more 2-hour, 3-hour meetings. Academic affairs, I'm going to hit up on this. PowerPoint is constructed, reviewing it, and we should display it for everybody in this organization next week. You guys will be the guinea pigs and determine, yes, I like that, no, I don't, take that out kind of thing. To which then we will have our first official chair instructional sort of PowerPoint, so that way we can actually open it up to the rest of the student body. Willis finished off the PowerPoint. He's going to email that to me within the next 12 to 24 hours. I'm going to review it, and if everything goes well, again, it's another PowerPoint that we will see next week. PR?
Hi everybody. I'm just going to go through this really quick because I don't really feel the need to do too long. We're meeting again with Ron from Media Services. We did last week, and there was some ideas that were thrown around for the recruitment video, some disagreements and some agreements. So we've made a new script to send to him, and we'll talk more about that, so I'll be able to find out what's really going on. Also, Bruce was able to tell me today that Carrie's going to be the one working on the website, so we have all the information. So since I'm in the office about 20 hours a week anyways, I'll be able to get this done soon, so we have something to look at. Also, thanks for the flyer disbursement. We had someone come in today asking about the assistant treasurer position, so I just want to thank everybody for getting those out very quickly. And also, there was an issue with the radio station. The attendance is really, really poor, and I'm going to be sitting around when people can make it. I cannot promote any other committees if no one is there. And also, too, we have to respect the facilities and the people. There was an issue where I had to ask somebody to leave, and I've never had to do that. I do not want to lose my privileges as well as SGA losing your privileges because of conduct. So
Sarah,
I'm going to
hit up with me that, because I want to hear more about that. That shouldn't happen for people in our organization.
Okay, there was an issue.
No,
oh.
on the
Oh,
side.
yeah.
On the side, all right? You always publicly, abort, and then you privately address,
Yes.
so that way you're not embarrassing somebody.
Yes.
So,
Oh, no,
yeah.
I would never say it out loud.
Okay, good. Talk to me after the meeting. I want to hear about that.
Okay, so I'm going to send around this. Even if you guys can only make 5 to 10 minutes, it's really important. I don't want to have the minutes be pre-recorded for the show, because one, that's going to even be more of a task. So that's pretty much it. That's the end of that.
All right. Great job. Keep up the good work. Greens.
So I'm making this really, really quick as well. Recycling update. I was informed that Tom Osborne is on sick leave. So the idea of a bookstore council, that's out the window. Because he won't be back until after the proposal date is done. So I'm gonna look up other avenues of maybe utilizing what we have in the meantime until whoever the next administration comes in and next chair. Other ideas, I mentioned those last week. Go up more in detail when I have more time, but other than that, that's my report.
Awesome. Again, stress continuity books, all right? Everything that you're doing should be logged in a journal or something like that, so that way you can hand off the shared drive, so the incoming people will have already a head start on what's happening, and they won't have to play catch up. Caitlin, what's the idea that Tom wanted you to pitch? And we have 6 minutes until mandatory recess.
I'm not even gonna put 6 minutes. We basically, in April, we want to do an Easter egg hunt on April 8th. There will be a station for thank you cards for the troops. And that's basically, I don't know if Michelle wants to add any more to that, but basically it would be just kind of a fun event, April 8th, and Easter egg hunt.
Okay. Shelley?
So, I don't know, well, in the October and fall semester, we have the haunted happenings for the community.
Yep.
Well,
you want a springtime kind of thing?
I'm sorry?
You want a springtime kind of thing?
Yes, that's pretty much it.
That was talked about last semester, or last year. Great idea. Definitely think about talking to NSA, the weekend takeover, and adding our resources into that, because that's kind of the big spring kickoff that we're doing. So we have, I believe the way it worked out last year is we had all day during Saturday. The only 2 other events that were happening was a basketball game and RHA's inflatable stuff. So we have, that's essentially like Saturday during the day is our time to contribute something to that. So definitely have a sit down with them, discuss it a little bit further. Leonard's care packages, military people, talk to military support group. That is Tim Foley, Nick Favalero, Brian D'Ambrosio, and myself. All right? Old business. Nothing. Going once, going twice. New business. Going once, going twice. Discussion announcements. Bruce?
Last Wednesday was a special event at the Commons Middle School, and our own Manny Cruz was a warm-up act for Governor Deval Patrick.
Point of information, I was the keynote speaker.
I stand right.
He actually called me Senator Cruz, Reverend Cruz, and Governor Cruz. So my speech was good.
Look at the big shot in the house.
You're a reverend?
I was.
No, it's...
Joking.
Anything else? Bruce, you got anything else? DJ?
We still have the SGA workshop this Friday, correct? 1 to 5 at UMass Lowell?
That is correct.
All right. Is anyone else planning to attend? I'll go. I can drive anybody. I'll represent us all then.
Manny?
It was my birthday on Saturday, and I would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, is there a second? Hugo? Discussion, or there is no discussion. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Best birthday present ever.
Sarah, I'd like to talk about that.
Yeah,